Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a really great workshop. I was hiding in Susie Mapledoram's Grief and Bereavement, and it really was fantastic. And I was definitely recording. I saw the record button going. So remember, most of the workshops today are on the website in the coming days ahead. So do please check up them if you want to explore some more themes, and keep checking back to joinedupconference.com and share them with your networks too.
It is now my pleasure, though. I know some of you have just rejoined us for this 3 o'clock excitement. And here she is, she's on the screen to introduce to you the one and only Canon Susie Mapledoram. I had to get that in, Susie. She is the Youth Work Officer in Manchester Diocese. And she has just finished one workshop and she's straight back in here to give us our afternoon keynote. Susie, it is so brilliant to have you here today. Thanks for being willing to give up your Saturday to be with us. So now I'm going to hand over to you to inspire and encourage us at the end of our conference. Oh dear, have we lost Susie? Susie, don't do this to us. We'll wait for Susie for a moment. She has just literally had to leave one call and back to another. Are you with us, Susie?
I think so. Can you hear me?
I can now. You're with us.
Oh, phew.
Over to you. Over to you.
Thanks. Sorry about that, everybody. Slight technical issue. It's brilliant to be with you all today. I've been in and out all day, and just a real joy. I've loved listening and chatting, and particularly the group that we've just talked about, grief and mourning. So good to share some stories and things together there. It would have been brilliant for us to have been here all together, but I'm in awe of the team who've done an absolutely spectacular job, and just ensuring that we all get the best out of the day. So big up to you, you legendary team of joined up people. So today, as we finish, I want to take you back to school and to a certain event that happens each summertime that either fills you with dread or huge excitement. Yes, it's Sports Day, folks. We all have maybe a different perspective of Sports Day and often different and diverse memories of it. Maybe some we would prefer not to remember. I kind of loved Sports Day at primary school, let me make that very clear, because alongside the more physically demanding races, such as the 100-meter sprint and hurdles, I get chills just thinking of the word hurdles, they would also have the fancy dressed three-legged race and the classic egg and spoon race. So primary Sports Day for me wasn't that bad on reflection, because we all got to run around a bit, create some hilarity, feel like winners even if we didn't come first, and hear the noise of our supporters going bananas cheering us on. That felt really good and gave us determination. And today I just wanted to share 3 things that I've learned and carried with me since Sports Day, and that was some time ago, that's helped me in my ministry with young people, but relates to all our types of ministries that are reflected here today. And those are: do your best, listen to your teacher, and be encouraged. So, first of all, do our best. And let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. Sports Day comes with its own glorious spectrum of expectations, with that kind of money passing hands, with the year 3 bookies in the tennis courts receiving bets on who's going to win the hurdles, to parents gathering and comparing notes over their swish picnics, and to the teachers who are gathering up this glorious bundle of varyingly talented children to have a bit of fun, bit of exercise, and maybe some cake afterwards. Expectations are everywhere on Sports Day, and they are around us too in this race of life that we are navigating. And as we kind of look at the track ahead of us, we may well have expectations of ourselves and the expectations from others, which can either be energizing or cause those metaphorical hurdles to spring up when we least expected them to. I think I've learned over the years to be realistic about what I can do, to know my limits, and to know kind of what I'm good at, and to just do my best, really, to give it all I have, and yet also know when I'm tired, and that it's okay to take space to rest and recharge. In fact, it's more than okay to do that. But that's not always an easy thing to do. But in whatever place God has placed you, wherever he's put you, wherever he's called you to work with the children, young people, teachers, parents, the best that we can do is our best. And that best is amazing. And what's even more amazing is that we can be fully and totally expectant in God to do great things with us and amongst us. God has this magnificent history of equipping people to do amazing things. And we're here today because we too can tell those stories of his faithfulness to us in our lives and in our ministries with children and young people. And we may well be feeling really dislodged by this pandemic, and maybe our ministry feels a bit sketchy in terms of contact and relationships. And that makes complete sense. But throughout, God has remained constant in these ever-changing days and still uses us in this ministry that we're called to. So be expectant. And let's continue to be expectant in the children and young people that we have the privilege of working with, of all that they teach us of their experiences, their trust in God, experiences of his faithfulness, and their ability to revolutionize our faith and our expectations in them. We ran a social action project with a youth group I used to run some years back. And one day someone asked in the midst of the project how we were going to clear away the mounds and mounds of rubbish that we'd accumulated. Tom, one of the young people in the youth group, suggested that we maybe went to the mayor of the town and ask if he could send us one of his dustbin lorries. It was a lovely thought, but I don't think any of us took it seriously. But Tom did. And he jumped on the bus that very day and went to the council offices and asked to see the mayor. And remarkably, the mayor was in. He saw Tom for 5 minutes, and Tom told him what we'd been doing and asked him for some help in the shape of a dustbin lorry for the morning. Clear Up Day arrived, and so did Tom, who casually explained to the mayor what he'd done. And he had explained to us what he'd asked the mayor to do for us. And we were pretty impressed that he kind of got to see the mayor and tried to maybe console him a bit, that it was highly unlikely that the mayor would send a dustbin lorry. How wrong were we? As nothing prepared us for the literal amazement and several chins hitting the floor when, lo and behold, a dustbin lorry came round the corner. And one of the gentlemen in the lorry wound the window down and shouted out, "The mayor has sent us." I must be honest with you, my youth work changed that day forever. And so did my expectations in young people. The second thing that Sports Day reminds me of is listening to our teachers. Well, I was quite a chatterbox at school, and I got told off regularly for talking, literally all the time. And my school reports regularly would indicate that because I didn't concentrate, I didn't get things right, because I didn't follow instructions properly, because I was too busy chatting with my buddies and not listening to my teacher. And by not listening and following the instructions carefully, I think I probably missed out on a bit, or maybe a lot. And I kind of really wish that I had listened more, particularly in fractions. But my experience at school of my PE teachers was extraordinary. They were some of the most patient people on earth. And wow, they would keep inspiring me to keep going. But at the same time, realizing that sports probably wasn't my lifetime gifting. And they often gave me reason to keep going, even though I'd never be quite as fast as Jenny or Sophie. Their words kept me moving forward. They kept me going. So let's run this race marked out for us with perseverance, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith. God is our brilliant, patient teacher. It's been so important for me and so life-giving to listen to the things that God is teaching me and to listen to things that God is teaching us and make time for that. to let those things weave deeply into our hearts and souls and bring life to our plans and our hopes and our fears. When our lives are impacted by God's words, we change because we're reminded and renewed by his truths and his purpose for us and for those that we serve too. And life is different when God speaks into the places where we've never been able to hear him before or wanted to hear him. You are all amazing people doing amazing stuff with children and young people. So it's good for us to make time to continue to give ourselves space to tune into God's promptings, to feel his rhythm for our lives and ministry again, to explore how his words wonderfully stretch our thoughts and our understanding and our plans, and to restore our hearts, and maybe even lead us into something new. Maybe give ourselves some space to listen to God, our good and patient and wise teacher, and be reminded of all he has called and is calling us to be and do. The last thing about Sports Day was about being encouraged. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. There's nothing like Sports Day and listening to your parents, grandparents, carers, friends, pets, literally yelling at full pitch as you line up for your race at Sports Day. It is so good to know that people are cheering us on and to hear them rooting for us from beginning to the end. And it doesn't matter if you win or come last or anywhere in between, they'll still be cheering you on. I can hear still my mum's voice going, "Come on, Suze!" That marvellous bunch of people along the edges willing us on. And this glorious cloud of witnesses rooting for each one of us as we run this race. I don't know what your memories are of people shouting for you at Sports Day, but can you imagine this great crowd of witnesses rooting for us? These people who have known God's faithfulness from beginning to end, who have stories of love, persistence, and faith that reveal over and over again God's love for each one of us. They know that we have everything to run for, and they urge us to keep looking ahead, focused on Jesus, because he changes everything and holds the prize. So be encouraged. And be encouraged again to be all that God has called you to be. Before he has asked anything of you, be encouraged in the person you are, in your giftings, your passions, and your calling. And be encouraged to be that fully, fearlessly authentic, and completely you. And don't let anyone leave you thinking that you need to be someone else. We are created and purposed to be ourselves by a God who knows us intrinsically and loves us completely and extravagantly. I had the utter joy of working with a brilliant chap called Dave from my old church, who made his first appearance as a volunteer leader at the local secondary school's Christian Union in spectacular style. Dave responded to a request at church for some support for this group, and I arranged to meet him in reception on the first day. It would be fair to say that I heard him before I saw him. It was almost like a rustling sound coming towards me, and lo and behold, there was Dave in a blue, lime and fluorescent orange shell suit. Remember those? So we walked gingerly to the classroom, and I think I probably tried to be a little bit far ahead of him, where the CU met, and Dave was met with an enthusiastic reception. But I remember this one young person who knew Dave from church coming up and asking him straight out, "Dave, what are you wearing?" And Dave explained to the young person that he had brought this shell suit especially for this new CU opportunity because he thought it would be cool for hanging out with the kids. To which this young person replied, and these words will stay with me forever, "But Dave, we just want you as you are. in your jeans and your Fred Perry jumper like you always wear. We just want you as you are, fearlessly authentic and completely you. So be encouraged. And as we are encouraged and see the impact of that encouragement on our lives, see what the encouragement is that you bring. We are people who work with children and young people because we think they're totally remarkable, because we want to walk or run this bit of the race with them, and because they make us think and love deeply and laugh till we hurt. And we love to encourage them and speak words of God's belief in them to them over and over again. So stand by, because we know that children and young people will not just hear those words, but act on them. When they know God and those around them are rooting for them, believing in them, empowering them to be fully themselves, when they know a God who transforms lives, they will choose to live differently and affect change and cause people to listen to those truths of Jesus that inspire them and inspire us. So be encouraged, because you are a huge encouragement. So I don't know if you're up for it, but if you want to pick up your egg and spoon for this next bit of our race, as things begin to look a bit clearer ahead, and in the knowledge of God's constant love and renewing, hear the words of those who love you and enthusiastically cheer you on from the sidelines in your ministry. Hold on tight to the precious and powerful words of God, our teacher and our encourager, the one who loves us and calls us. And keep going. Be encouraged, because you are spectacular.
Thank you so much, Susie, for your keynote and bringing back those wonderful memories of Sports Day. I was a very competitive mother, I seem to remember. But that encouragement to keep going, to persevere, and to just continue to be who we are in Jesus, so important for all of us. Thank you so much.
You're
yes,
welcome.
thank
Good
you,
to see
Susie.
you.
Thank you for bringing all that energy and encouragement to us all. I hope it's lifted others as it has lifted me at the end of the day. Bless you, Susie. Thank you for running around all over Zoom for us today. We'll see you soon.
No problem. Bye.